Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 11 of the Elouise Show. Tonight, we're just switching up the tempo and we're going to get a little spicy. We're going to talk feminism, because, duh. And we're also going to talk sexuality. So, we're going to get sexy tonight. Tonight's guest is the very talented, the very beautiful, the sexy, the ambitious, the all around wonderful Nayoche, or as some people know her, Wild Nayo. She's a Pisces poet from New York City. After bartending for about 6 years, she decided she needed a career that could feed both her pockets and her soul, and is on her journey to becoming an ASL interpreter. That's right. My girl knows sign language. So if you're on this call today, she knows sign. All right. She's also the founder of the Self Love First Foundation, a nonprofit to help survivors of domestic violence. So, yes, we will get a little serious a little bit, but we're going to keep it spicy too. In addition, she is an outspoken advocate of women's rights, animal rights, and the Black Lives Matter movement. Nayoche, aka Wild Nayo. How you doing, sis?
Doing good. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad that you're here. Hold on, let's get it together. One girl over here trying to show her screen. There we go.
Hello.
That was fun.
This is so cool.
Put my drink on myself. So first off, cheers to having you on the show, Niall.
Oh my God, right. Salud. Let me grab my wine. Cheers.
Hello.
Mm.
So let's get right into it. All right.
Yes.
Let's be serious before we
let's be serious.
Word of the day. Talk to me about the Self Love First Foundation. Tell me about it.
So the Self Love First Foundation is a nonprofit organization that I founded. So I started it we're in 2020. I started maybe about a year or two ago. So the organization is geared towards helping survivors of domestic violence, but not only helping them get back on their feet, but our goal is to empower these survivors through the power of self-love. Because, we can give you resources, a place to stay, clothes on your back and everything like that. But if you don't have that self-love instilled in yourself, you're more than likely to wind up in the same situation all over again with a different person. So, yeah,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What are some forms of self-love that you think are important for women to engage in?
Oh my God, there's a lot. I think one biggest thing about self-love, one form of self-love is definitely physical self-love. Definitely, and people think it's a little shallow, but when you look good or when you feel like you look good, you feel good. So, pamper yourself, do your own toenails, give yourself a bubble bath, but also it's very important for you to achieve mental self-love too. So reading things that make you feel good, saying your affirmations every day, even doing yoga.
Hello, let's pause on that. Ladies, if you're listening. Affirmation. When she says affirmation, I mean, it's cute, right? People overuse that word in 2020. I think it became trendy around 2015. But she's not saying she's telling you, look in the mirror, talk your shit.
Right.
Tell yourself about yourself.
The same way that y'all hype up, these internet, these Instagram people that you don't know, you have to give yourself that same hype. You gotta wake up in the morning, and even if you have to put Post-its, all around the mirrors that say, I'm beautiful, I'm the shit, I'm smart, just, anything that boosts you up and reminds you of how beautiful and powerful you are, because when you're in those situations, you tend to forget that.
Hello. No matter how bad your day is going, there is something about you that is popping, all right? So you may be having a day from hell. Your boss might be riding you hard. your ego may be down in the dumps, but you go in the mirror and you see that one eyebrow. That email you sent, but that eyebrow is popping though. You know, you gotta boost yourself up.
It's so good.
And then you're ready. Then you have the energy to go back in, correct the day. You have the confidence to like do what you need to do, get it done.
Right. And also, like, when you feel good and when you fully and genuinely have achieved self-love, that like frequency will vibrate and it will attract someone who is worthy of you, because a lot of people, they're scared to leave because they're scared to feel alone. But if you have that self-love instilled within yourself, I promise you, you will not be alone forever. There's plenty of people out there and you will attract someone who's on your wavelength and who's going to treat you the right way and stuff. So
that's a fact. And also, like, you have to talk about the fact that like what you're saying, you know, self-love is the best kind of love. Like, you will attract what you're supposed to attract, but you're not going to attract anything until you got you, boo. You got to have you first, because if you don't have you first, and not to say that victims of abuse are responsible for their abuse, right? But unfortunately, especially in domestic violence situations, there are a lot of red flags.
Right.
There are red flags and there are hella yellow flags. They're all over the place saying, what up, boo? He ain't the one for you. You engage, and you engage because sometimes, you know, because of your need for what you feel like this person feels for you, but you got to feel it for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
So true.
And that starts with how you talk to yourself.
Right.
And then how you talk to yourself turns into how you treat yourself.
Exactly. Domino effect.
Domino effect. Camille B123 says hello. She says, "What's up, girls? Hey, lady. How you
Hey,
doing?
what's up, girl? Hello.
All right, so okay, I love what self-love first is about. And now that I know what it's about, I'm in love with the name. Okay. So now I want to know what sparked your interest in domestic abuse survivors. Like why is this so important to you?
So for me, first off, it was very important for me, one, to create this foundation because one, I myself am a survivor of domestic violence, but two, the end all goal for the foundation is for us to eventually have our own housing facilities in which we allow survivors to bring their animals. Because I think there's only one or two shelters that I know of. Most domestic violence shelters, you're not allowed to bring your pets with you. So imagine that, you just finished dealing with maybe one of the most traumatic moments of your life, and now you're trying to find refuge and they won't let you take your biggest support system. You know what I mean? Which probably defers a lot of women who are very, tight with their animals from even going in the first place. So
refuge throughout, course of their abuse. Sorry to hear about, your past, but happy to hear that you're a survivor, a victor of your circumstance, rather.
Me too.
So how would you define yourself then as a sexual being? How do you find freedom of self, and how do you find freedom within your sexuality after what happens?
I will admit, it's very, especially after, because in general, I'm very free with my sexuality. I'm very open with my sexuality. It's very prevalent on my Instagram and when I talk, because we're people have sex, males, females, and everyone in between. But when you're coming out of an abusive relationship, sometimes it's hard. So, okay, there's two extremes, right? So sometimes when you experience an abusive relationship, you go through something where you don't want to have sex at all. Sometimes when you try to date or try to hook up with somebody else, it feels very foreign and it feels like you're cheating still, even though you're not cheating because you still have that mental attachment to that person. And then the other extreme, right, is that sometimes you have too much sex, right? So for me, that was kind of my experience with my first abusive relationship. Like after we had broke up, I was like, oh, I'm free. You know, I'm just like, you know, doing me or whatever. But when it came to the second relationship in which I had experienced some, I just was turned off by people. I just didn't want to date anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to pigeon message anyone. I just wanted nothing to do with the male species at that point. So it's hard, definitely. But, you know, now, you know, back in my swing, you know, so happy about that.
That you're back in your swing. So I really like this assessment too, because like we find ourselves in a place where like a lot of people do what I guess what's defined as today as slut shaming. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really interesting that people have a commentary on what a woman chooses or doesn't choose to do with her body. Brenda Morgan sends a bunch of hearts. Hi, Brenda. Hey, folks. Jen Blake says hi, friend. So yeah, so like, what I'm really curious to know, what are your thoughts on like the commentary that people have on what a woman chooses and doesn't choose to do with her vajayjay?
It's so annoying, to say the least. I don't even know. Am I allowed to curse on here? I don't know. It's so annoying. It's just like, you know, I'm a woman, not a box. That's actually the beginning of a new poem I'm working on, so don't copyright my shit. But yeah, you know, I'm a woman, not a box. So it's like I shouldn't have to be forced into, you know, these categories that I didn't ask to be put into, you know, and it's frustrating. And, you know, I just feel like I don't understand the double stigma, you know what I mean? The double standard. Like men are allowed to do what they want to do, right? They're allowed to have sex, you know, like do whatever they want, and we're supposed to worship them like the kings that they are, right? But for some reason, when a woman is sexually free or liberated, then she's not wifey material all of a sudden, you know. And I saw Instagram meme like that. It was like, oh, it doesn't matter how nice or person, whatever, if you're like, you're too sexual, or if you do too much, you're just not wifey material. And I think that's, you know, I think it's bullshit. I don't think it's BS. Like,
so I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, well, you know, men fuck and women get fucked. So like, what is your
like, what if I'm on top? Then I'm doing the work. So aren't you getting fucked? Aren't I fucking you? You know what I mean? So it's like, or does it have to be like we have to like just get head all the time for y'all to like respect our shit? You know what I mean? Like, well, then you get it. Like, I don't get it. Like,
I don't know. I've had conversations with men about this very specific topic, and then the other thing that they love to throw into the mix is like, you know, like women have vaginas. You have to enter a woman, but a man, their penis is external. So like nobody enters them. Like, so it's weird, and I'm just trying to understand like the concept, like the ideology behind it. And I think that something about you that's really, really admirable is the way you own your sexuality. And, you know, because not whether you're male or female, not everybody is comfortable enough with their sexuality to like even talk about it, to even be out there. So to be a sexual being, number one, is very brave, you know, if you have the capacity to be out there. But then furthermore, like to be a woman and to be comfortable about like to be free with her sexuality and to be comfortable talking about that and showcasing that. I think that's like that's a lot, because I know for a fact, as many men probably try to hit you up in your DMs, you probably have people like hating on you in your DMs.
Oh my God, I get like I get, because you know I'm very politically verbal on my Instagram too, so I get all types of like hate messages in my thing. You know, I get people that are like, oh, how do you expect to find a husband acting like that, or like, of course you don't have a man because you're acting like that. It's like, first off and foremost, who said I wanted or am looking for a man? Okay. Second and foremost, if a guy doesn't like how I'm portraying myself or the things that I do, then that's obviously not the man for me. So I'm not going to dumb myself down or stifle myself to make someone else who I don't know through a hole in the wall feel comfortable. I'm not going to do that. Like,
feel comfortable because they can't handle like what you're vibrating. You know what's funny? You just reminded me of the interview where like Rihanna's on the carpet and it's like, that's ironic because you're a Pisces.
Yeah, Pisces.
And she's like, Rihanna's on the carpet and they're like, Rihanna, so tell us, what are you looking for in your next man?
Yes.
And she's like, well, first of all, I'm not looking for a man. So let's start there.
Right. And you know what also bothers me about that question is that no one asks a man that question. Like when he's on his Instagram live and like he's like hanging out with all, with all these like, women, or he's doing whatever he does. He's talking about like, like sex, drugs, killing people, whatever the case may be. No one questions him. And it's like, oh, how do you expect to find a wife and have kids acting like that? You know what I mean? So that's my biggest problem with that question. It's like, don't ask me something that you wouldn't ask a man. Like, don't treat us any differently. Like,
Wild Nayo, obviously, every man has many women who are dying to be with him.
Oh, obviously. Obviously.
There's some.
But it's so funny. And it's also the same men that talk all the smack. They're also the ones that are like always watching your stories and like liking the picture as soon as you post it. Yeah, it's always those weirdos. Like, they're always trying to get a discount on your Onlyfans. Like, it's just like you talk all this stuff, but it's like, you talk all this stuff, but yet you wind up cheating on your girlfriend with women that you shame all the time. So it's confusing. Like,
what I didn't think about so just now is like the Cleopatras and Mary Magdalenes of the world.
Right.
Like we're having this conversation. It's 2020 and we're having this conversation about freedom of self and sexuality and owning yourself as a woman, right?
Right.
But let's not forget how Cleopatra she was running game on these dudes way back when. She got an entire nation because of it. Like, so shout out to Cleo.
Right. And it's like you said, in some cultures it's like that. There's this book I read a long time ago. It's called Go and Come Back. If anyone wants to read it, it's very interesting. It's about, I guess it takes place somewhere in South America. I don't know. It's about this indigenous tribe, basically. But in this tribe, it's not sexy for the women to be skinny or slender, right? Like in this tribe, like big, thick women are attractive, and the women are expected to have multiple male partners. Like that's what they do in that tribe. So it's just interesting how like each society is like different and has different standards and norms. So.
Or even like in terms of like the cultures. Hold on, you said Go and what?
Oh, Go and Come Back. That's the name of the book. Go and Come.
For anyone who's in this book, is it this one right here? Joan Love?
Yes, about the Peruvian jungle. Yes, it's that one. It's such a good book. Yes, it's that. Yes.
It's reasonably priced too. So, cool. Shoot, I lost my question. I was just about to ask you. Oh no, I was about to tell you something. So let's talk about like in terms of culturally too, because I feel like in terms of like Latin cultures and Black cultures, like the way a woman is supposed to move is deemed like different. Like we're under different pressures as Black women and as Latin women than we would be if we were, let's say, a white woman. I feel like it's socially acceptable for white women to be free.
Right, because you see like, if like Girls Gone Wild, right? Like you'll see like these sorority girls and like they go crazy during spring break or whatever. But when they go to their corporate jobs, no one's like shaming them for doing wild stuff in college, right? But then when it comes to like like Spanish women, excuse me, when it comes to Latino women or when it comes to Black women, you know, we're being shamed for just like, you know, maybe like doing like a music video, you know, or like dancing like at an event or like whatever the case may be. For some reason, like it's just so much weight on like women of color than it is with white women in terms of being able to, I guess, prosper or be a part of mainstream society after, you know, you take part in your sexuality more.
When people start, so as a rebuttal to what you just said, I usually hear people talk about like body types, right?
Right.
How like the reason, like, so for instance, like, you know, that cute little black dress that's to the body, it's a little low cut, whatever, whatever, like back out that dress, right?
Right.
Let's say um a woman who's skinny with like no boobs, no real ass, like wears that dress, right? She can go to work with that dress, right? But if I wear that same dress to work with all of my hips, my cute little booty, and my boobs, like it's like scandalous, right? But we're wearing the same dress. So I feel like in terms of like the way that we move, is it because our in terms of culturally speaking and in terms of majority, right? The majority of Latin women and the majority of Black women, and when I use the word Latin, I'm specifically referring to Latin Caribbean and South America. I'm not speaking about straight up European Spanish or Latin,
not Castilian, right? Spanish specifically, right?
Let's be clear about the body type I'm talking about. So when we're talking about these places, the majority of this body type is very voluptuous, is part of the reason that we can't move the same way because we're built in a way that attracts more men. Is it because of our bodies that we can't move the same?
You know, it is, and it's unfortunate like that because I feel like even though, you know, a lot of cultures probably deal with that too. I feel like that very much so is a very Americanized, colonized way of thinking, you know, because people, you know, and yes, the woman body can be a sexual thing, but people sexualize it. You know what I mean? Like in terms, like the woman body is actually very nurturing. Like, you know, like I don't understand like what's wrong with like women showing their nipples. Like nipples give you life, and I feel like people try to like make that into something more. And also, you know, Josephine Baker, for those of you who don't know, she was very famous in Europe for dancing around in a banana skirt and some pearls, and she was like up there, like she was performing for the sophisticated punch, okay, like way back in the day, and she was seen as like a respected artist, a respected dancer. So it's just funny how you look at Europe in a lot of, you know, back in the day, and even now, like I feel like you see like you women's breasts on TV more. It's not such a big thing like it is in America, you know, like it's just like we see a woman's body, naked body here, and it's like, oh no, or like we see a woman breastfeeding and we're like, put your nipple away. And it's like, for what? Like this was you like 30, 40 years ago. So like, what are you tripping about? Like without this, you wouldn't be here right now. So pay respect to the nipple, bow down to the nipple. Like, it's just frustrating.
See that on the shirt, bow down to the nipple.
To the nipple. Bow down to the nipple. Like
down to nipples.
Like for real.
Let's talk about Amber Rose's slut walk, which I don't think she was able to have this year because of COVID.
Right.
I don't see how slut walk would have worked during 2020 COVID.
Yeah.
But let's talk about her slut walk. What do you think about it?
I love it. I love it. I love me some Amber Rose. Love, 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 love. Besides her just being a badass bitch all around physically, she's a badass bitch internally and mentally. And I like what she did. You know, she took the word back and got power from it. You know, just like how back in the day, being called a Yankee was a bad thing. Like that was a derogatory word for Northerners. And what now? Now we have a baseball team called the Yankees. The same thing with being called a bitch. Before, being called a bitch was a bad thing. I mean, it still is depending on the context, but a lot of the times women use it among ourselves as a term of empowerment, or like, hey bitch, like yes bitch, you know what I mean? So I feel like you see that a lot of the times throughout history, language evolves and language develops, and it's a way to take your power back because language has been used as a weapon for so long. So I like it. She was like, all right, you want to call me a slut? Yeah, that's right. I'm sexually liberated, ultimately timely. I just made that up. But you know what I'm saying? Like she's, I like that. She's taking her power back.
One of our viewers said that he's bowing down to the nipple. So
that's right, down to the nipple.
No, I think it's really interesting too because like you said earlier, like you never know a person's story. So not to say that everyone who is sexually free has endured some sort of abuse, but like I think it's really interesting, like the correlation between like abuse, whether it be in your childhood, your teenage years, or even like in a past relationship, i.e., like just because you're in a relationship, guys, doesn't mean that you have the right to that woman's body. She still has to consent. You can be married and she still has to consent. But the abuse, whether it be sexual or physical, can lead to like a reaction in a person trying to like regain themselves or like hold on to their freedom, where the next thing you know, they're just out here.
Right.
They feel a sense of liberation of like for being the one to take control because someone else to control them. So I think it's really interesting that people are so quick to judge and so quick to shame, and they don't even know the situation, or what a person is going through. So hello. So how would you define feminism?
Amazing, beautiful, the best. No. So in my definition of feminism is, for us to be treated equally with men, like for me, ultimate feminism is that both genders are created equally. Treated equally. Both genders get the same amount of pay. Both genders are respected. Both genders are not slut shamed. Both genders are taken seriously when they are crying out and need help in terms of like abuse and domestic violence, because we have a lot of that going on. Like there's a lot of issues and trials and tribulations that for us women, like it's okay for us to talk about, but it's not okay for men to talk about, and vice versa, So like in the workforce, a lot of times men still get paid more than a woman at the same job. And then in terms of like, like abuse or anything like that, when a man says that a woman's, perform domestic violence on him or abuse or rape or in something, any of that sort, they're so quick to, judge him and like make fun of him. And it makes a lot of male survivors and victims not want to reach out and get help. So ultimate feminism is just equality.
There's a crazy number of men that have been sexually abused who won't even report it. Did you watch Euphoria?
Of course.
Yo, there was this episode on Euphoria, spoiler
alert,
where McKay goes off to college or whatever, and his girlfriend, he's in his freshman year of college, his girlfriend is in her senior or junior year of high school, whatever. She goes to visit him in school, and there's something that happens where she's in the room, they snatch him off the bed, and it looks like they violated him.
Right.
Like they raped him.
Yeah.
And like the way that the show shoots it, like you can't really see what exactly happened, but it looks like he was raped. And so what happens after they leave, he goes straight into like the bathroom and like he shuts down and he doesn't talk about it. So because he doesn't talk about it, we don't know 100% what we just saw, although we think we know what we just saw. And like I was really, really curious about that, like in how many situations, because the writer wrote this for a reason, you know what I'm saying? How often is it that these men are getting like sexually abused violently and they just like hold that in and not share it with anyone? And how much of this like hyper masculinity that we're seeing in the world is linked to like abuse, in like in men's past? Like it's crazy. The number of men,
like, because girls advantage of guys too. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, there'll be that one girl that she's been trying to hook up with this guy. He won't give her the time of day, period, point blank. So she'll like, give him more liquor, give him a Molly, whatever. And then, she'll like force herself on him, and he's, he can't really fight back because he's, incapacitated. And then when he tells the story, his friends will laugh and be like, oh, like, no, you got lucky, bro. And it's like, no, you did not want that. That is rape. Like, no, it's not okay. Like, it doesn't make it any less okay because, like, you're a man. Like, it's messed up.
I've never particularly been in a situation where I've had to take advantage of a man.
Right.
But I think it's fucked up to take advantage of anyone, male or female, whether you're a man
Right.
or woman, and whether you're taking advantage of a man or woman. That's not okay. And if you think it's okay, please seek therapy because you need help. And I say that with all the love in my heart. Like,
Right.
you need help.
So,
okay, so feminism in your eyes is equality of the sexes, right? It's being able to take up equal space in every conversation, in every aspect of life, right?
Right.
Now, with that said, do you believe that sexual freedom, both in sexual orientation and frequency / number of partners, is a part of the feminist movement?
It definitely is, because like we were talking about earlier, like, there's this stigma when like a man has multiple sex partners, he's the man, or like he's experienced, or like, you know what I mean? It's cool for him to like have sex with a bunch of women. But if a woman were to do that and have sex with multiple male partners, and all of a sudden she's a hoe, you're a slut, you're used goods, and it's just like, why? It shouldn't be like that. Like, everybody has sex, and I don't feel like you should shame anyone for having sex or wanting to have sex, as long as you're being safe and you're not putting yourself or your or the other person at harm. Who gives a fuck? Like, if you want to fuck 50 people or 2 people or 1 million people, that's no one's business at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like, how do you, boo-boo? Because at the end of the day, you are put on this earth to make yourself happy. So what, you're going to be 80 years old regretting that dick you didn't grab because you were worried about this bitch's opinion? Like, no, I'm going to be 80 years old and be very content with my life, okay?
Grandma was a Rolling Stone?
I'll be that grandma.
No, but also on the reverse end of that, I guess would be like, if you're a guy and you're like, you've been with the same woman for like since high school, since middle school, like this woman is your first and she's your only, and you're happy with this woman, you're content with this woman, but your boys are like, you're so lame, you haven't slept with anyone else. Like, nah, like if
No.
you're happy, you're happy.
You're happy. And I think also in terms of sexual orientation, like there needs to be more equal respect with bisexuality in both genders. Because for some reason, it's okay for me to be bisexual. But if my homeboy is bisexual, no, he's not bisexual, he's gay. And it's like, no, he likes both. Like, no one tells you that if you like vanilla and chocolate vanilla and chocolate ice cream, that like, no, you just like vanilla ice. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, you're allowed to like both if you like both. And so I feel like we need to stop telling people about themselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's just annoying. It's just so annoying.
Know your own urges, but I'm letting you know that you're confused, sir. And you don't know yourself as well as you do.
I used to get that all the time, like in high school. Like, you might, like my homegirls that I went to elementary school with, this one girl, she was just kind of like, what? Like, like, you're gay. Are you gay? Are you gay? And I'm like, I mean, I'm part of the rainbow spectrum, if you will, but I don't consider myself 100% homosexual because I'm bisexual. So, I'm like 50% gay, or however you want to put it, but I don't feel like, who cares?
This is I keep having these conversations with people, and I keep bringing up this topic of like hetero privilege.
Yes. Yes.
So just like there is white privilege, where white people will not understand to the full extent the experience of a Black person. There is this thing that I believe is hetero privilege, wherein if you are just a regular schmegular person who likes people of the opposite sex, have absolutely no attraction or curiosity outside of that, you have what is called hetero privilege,
Right.
i.e., you won't ever understand fully the plight of what it is to be gay, what it is to be lesbian, what it is to be transgender, what it is to be bisexual. Aspects of it will forever confuse
Yeah.
you, because as much as you will try to empathize, understand, whatever, you just won't, because it's not who you are. It's not the story.
Like even for like even when you're bisexual, like when I was in high school, this was, I want to say, around the year 2007, 2008, it was just the coming of, being openly gay is being more accepted. But I remember like going home from school with my friend, and I had like my rainbow cap on, and like hearing people call me like a dyke and like all these derogatory names and stuff. And it's rough, you know what I mean? Like even if you are bisexual, it's rough, and it's even, for gay men or for gay women, it's rough, and especially like for trans women and men, especially like today, like it's dangerous, and people don't understand. And just because, like, some people say that it's that you can go out, right? Let's say if you're like homosexual, if you're gay, you can go out and hide that, right? As opposed to like, if you're black, you can't hide your skin tone, right? So like, but like people are like, oh, well, if you're gay, why don't you just like blend in? And it's just like, no, you shouldn't have to fit in,
Change
or like
yourself to make other people comfortable.
why do I have to appear straight for me to feel safe? It's just like, it's like not right. And also it's like, even if you do that, there's the internet. So, there's like weirdo people out there, there's like people who have like severe hand-straight and severe homo hate. And they'll, there's like websites, like there are these websites that tell, like these like crazy homophobic websites that tell you where like these people hang out. And it's scary. Like it is a scary world for people of the gay, for the LGBT plus community. Like it's very scary.
Really fucked up that there's websites that like are literally created so that people can target another person. I think that's it's just crazy. You need help. Whoever created that website, you need help.
Oh my
And
God.
help, so much help that it's gonna drive me to smoke.
Like,
Speaking of
even the incident with the three trans women on Shade Room. So I
yeah.
so I know one of the women. I don't know her personally. Like we're not like best friends, but like we did like a show together, like a YouTube thing together, like back like a long time ago. And she's like so sweet. And to be honest with you, like not that it even matters, but like I didn't even know she was trans when I met her, and I didn't even know until like the Shade Room, it talked about the story, and it made me even more upset. It's just like, so what? Like who cares if you're trans, if you're asexual, bisexual, unisexual, alien sexual? Like why does someone else's life affect how you live yours? Like
It is the biggest mindfuck of like humanity. Why the way another person moves makes people feel so strongly. And I think it really just it's like unsettling to people because of whatever they need to figure out within themselves. People really are like mirrors of their circumstance. So like I don't know. Like I don't know why my happiness makes you mad. But that's something
you're
you
not
need to check
happy.
in with yourself about.
Because let me tell you something, girl. In general, when you have a lot of light in you, it attracts a lot of darkness. So, people try to feed off your light, and you just kind of gotta shine that bitch back in their face and burn them to obliteration, It's like,
I told this to one of my friends the other day. Fun thing about light and shining bright is that those who shine the brightest usually shine so bright because they've conquered darkness, because they've been through
right,
shit. So don't envy someone who shines so much, because you have no fucking clue what they had to go through to get there.
right.
Now let's go real quick because I want to put you on. So on Instagram, we promised that we was going to promote a brand today, right?
Yes.
For the smokers, this brand is smokers. So Simply Smoking Smoke
Cute.
Shop, all right? This is a Black-owned business. It's owned by 2 Black women. They have their own papers. They're basically Snoop Dogg right now, okay?
That's lit.
Like I wish I had something that was current and trendy and had my own freaking papers. So one of my girlfriends called me and she was like, Lynette, I left something in your house. Please tell me I left it in your house. And I was like, what is it? She was like, is there a black bag there? And I'm like, all right, let me look, right? At this point, my house was a mess. I looked through it. Okay, boom, I found you. Like, I'm like a black bodega bag. She's like, yes. She was like, inside, there should be papers, a pink thing, and an ashtray. And I looked at it and I said, this is an ashtray? Look at this. How cute is this? This just looks like something you just stick in your house to be cute. But this is an ashtray. Simply Smoking Smoke Shop. All right, let's say you're not a smoker. Let's say you don't, all right? But let's say you like to, sage your house. You like to get the bad energy out, right? Everybody who uses sage, you never use the entire thing the first time. So if you need to just, this is a perfect thing to do it in. And it comes in other colors, right? So this is one of their ashtrays.
That's pretty.
I definitely told my friend she can get her papers back, but she's not getting her ashtray back.
I would have did the same. That's a really nice ashtray. Hold on. I think you froze on my end. I don't know if you guys, so if you guys can see me, I think Lynette froze. Hold on, let me text her really quick. Guys, just having a little technical difficulty. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Well, she's gonna come back on. Just a little technical difficulty. Listen, guys, you know how it is with COVID and Corona. Everybody be on the internet. There we go.
Oh my God, that's the first time this has happened to me on the Elouise Show. There's a first time for everything.
It's the first time. I was telling them, like, sometimes it happens because, everyone's using the internet because everyone's home. So sometimes it just freezes sometimes. It happens.
Welcome to 2020, guys. All right. So you heard about the paper and you heard about the ashtray. So I was saying, like, this thing is like if you smoke a cigarette, you smoke joints, you smoke blunt. This is where, like, you can have your stuff pre-rolled and, like, you can, like, put it in here, close it up, and it's airtight. You see this little, like, plastic thing right there at the rim? That keeps it airtight. And that way your stuff never, it never goes bad. It always stays fresh or whatever. So you can keep your stuff fresh with your Simply Smoking products. And if you want to know the website, because it is 2020 and a lot of people in the world are avid smokers.
Yes.
Right? So look, there you go. There we go. Just go to simplysmoking.com. You see there's no G in that, guys, right? You hit enter, right? Obviously, because of regulations in different states, you have to be over the age of 21 to enter the website. So be honest, right? Go in. If you have time, listen to this song by this artist that's on the website, by the way, she just dropped an album today. She just dropped an album today called 221. It's super fire. I'll make sure to include it in the description of the Elouise Show. Yes. But you can shop there. They have a bunch of stuff, and now they're selling apparel. They have gift cards. If you know anyone's birthday that's coming up, you can buy that. So definitely check them out.
For sure. And I love that little what's it called? The little pink thing, the container. How do you probably call it? I love
let me go.
I love that because, like, for me, like sometimes when I'm like outside, you know, like I'll smoke a blunt with my friends, but then when it's time for us to go inside somewhere, like if you guys are a smoker, you guys know how badly a clip blunt or a clip cigarette smells. It smells so bad. So I really like that because you could just like take that with you, and when you clip it, just, you know, like screw it and you good to go. I like that.
So it's on the storage. This on the storage section of their site. This product right here. This product is called Jazz. Each of their products has a woman's name. So I think that's really, really cute. Ooh. They also have one, I think it's called Carrot, where like you can store your actual whatever you're stuffing your whatever you're rolling with. Whatever it is. You can stuff your whatever in there.
Oh, stuff your one of them. I've heard that before.
No shit. All right. So let's get into it. I know we promised everyone on IG that we would get spicy today.
We
did. Let's talk OnlyFans.
So wait, Mom, if you're watching, this is the time to turn off the YouTube. Thanks, Mom.
If my uncles are on, still pay attention because you guys were calling it fans only and not only fans, but watch for educational purposes.
So many people do that though. They're like, what's your fans only? I'm like, you mean my only fan? But yeah.
No, thank you. So what made you start on the fans page? Talk to me about it.
Ooh, okay. So I started my OnlyFans. Okay, so a little backstory. So before I really knew about OnlyFans, I used to do a private Snapchat. So I would have my private Snapchat. I would charge at the time like $50 a month. And then, you know, you would just have unlimited access. I would just post on my snaps every day and you would just see what it was that I posted. But then I started dating an old childhood friend of mine who also is in the adult entertainment industry. And he was telling me about OnlyFans because his ex-girlfriend, I'm not going to name drop because I don't know if she'd be okay with that, but she said time out.
Sis said you dated a childhood friend in the adult entertainment industry. So you dated a porn star? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I dated a porn star. So essentially, he's not like super well known yet, but he definitely knows a lot of well known people. His ex-girlfriend is actually very well known. Yeah, it's funny. She actually has his name on her tattooed on her butt cheek. So there's a little hint right there on her right butt cheek, I think. So that's all I'm gonna give for that. But
echo me. So you started dating this guy who's he's in the industry.
Right, he's in the industry.
And so at this point you're selling subscriptions to your Snapchat. So what is it that he said to get you to transition from your Snapchat to OnlyFans?
Right. So at this time, I wasn't even doing the Snap. Like I had done the private Snap maybe like a year before we had started talking, and then I had stopped doing it. Not for anything in particular. I just was kind of like, I don't know. And I wasn't very disciplined about it. So I had like stopped doing it. But when I started talking to him, I had told him that I had a private Snapchat, and he had asked me, did I have an OnlyFans? And I was like, no. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that because I wasn't really sure about doing it because I was like, I don't know if I want people to like see me doing certain things because like, you know, I still want to do like the interpreting thing and I still want to do, you know, like other regular mainstream, you know, stuff. So he was telling me like how much money you can make on there. And like I said, he still manages his ex-girlfriend. Like they're still really cool. So he manages her. And he was telling me like, yo, she makes bank. And he was like, yeah, you should fuck with it, see how you like it. And he was like, you should try it. He's like, because at least that way, if we don't work out, at least, like you're walking away with something useful. So I'm kind of glad he did, because now I was able to walk away with something useful. And so I started the OnlyFans. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to show my face or whatever. So I was just charged a lot for the videos of my face. And I saw that people were buying it. So I was like, oh shit. I think people really do want to see me. So I was like, okay. So I just kept it.
You kept doing it. And so what kind of stuff do you post on there? Because like I don't have an OnlyFans page. I haven't subscribed to an OnlyFans page. And like, people assume what they assume, but I'd rather know for sure. And I'm not going to assume what's on there and what's not on there. So what kind of stuff do you post on your OnlyFans page? And if anyone wants to subscribe to your OnlyFans page, like where can they go?
So you guys can subscribe at onlyfans.com/wildnayo. If you guys are also trying to start your own OnlyFans, if you follow my Twitter, it's the same thing, Wild Nayo. If you follow my Twitter, I have my referral code pin, and I also do OnlyFans workshops for $9.99, where I teach you how to finesse a system. I put you on a game, and I teach you how to utilize the platform and make the most money for yourself. So, spend $10, make a lot. But yeah, so your question was what's on the OnlyFans. So I will say that I am not one of those OnlyFans where you're going to subscribe and just see me in a bathing suit. I'm not going to play you guys like that. We're not Bella Thorne. We'll get to that later. But
I think it's great that you mentioned that, because I do want to talk about that.
Oh my God. But what's on there? I mean, I'll be upfront. Like, obviously, like you'll see me you'll see me fucking on there. There's like solo stuff on there. But what I like to do is I like to put on my profile feed, you'll see you'll see like teasers, you'll see clips, but if you want like the real, like gritty, like exclusive X-rated stuff, I usually send that in the private messagings. And then, like I'll send like, little free clips and stuff, but then, for like the full length videos, you have to like pay for it and stuff. But there's a lot of good stuff on there. There's like POV scenes, there's toy scenes. I'm hitting up my homegirl because we're trying to shoot together. So
I'm sorry. I'm super novice. What is POVC?
Oh, so POV is like point of view. So like, okay, so how like some pornos are shot and like you can see both people doing their thing, and then you have those pornos where it looks like the camera guy is the one that's like doing it. Okay. Yeah, it's like that. So it's like that POV is like point of view. So it's from like the guy's point of view. So like whoever's watching it can kind of get the sensation that like it's them in a weird way too, instead of the guy. So it's good.
So who's your camera guy?
I usually do it myself. Oh, and for my deaf viewers, like I guess you guys wouldn't be viewing right now. Maybe that's ignorant. There's different levels of deafness. But anyways, to my members of the deaf community, you guys always get 25% off right off the bat. I give 25% off to all my deaf subscribers.
Can you please find that so that if there are any, well, I guess no one here, but so that if I like cut this down and there's deaf viewers, they can see that.
Oh my God. So if you're deaf, my only, oh my God, start drinking, I can't sign. OnlyFans is 25% off for you. Yay. So buy my shit.
Wait, I need to learn that one.
Right? So buy my shit. Yeah. I love sign language. I love American Sign Language. But yeah, so I got a lot of juicy stuff on my OnlyFans, and I'm in the process of trying to like hit up some girls so I can get some like more girl on girl content, because I do have like a threesome or two on there, but I definitely need like some more girl stuff on there. So there's
dope. and you can follow that at Onlyfans / Wild Nayo.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. I'm going to skip over Bella Thorne because she's not relevant. And we're going to go straight into your poetry piece. So I know you've been a poet since like before high school. So I want to know if you have a poem that correlates to any of the topics that we've discussed today.
I sure do. So it's not memorized, but I have it on my phone. So I am going to read it. Okay, so I usually don't name my poems. But I'll read this poem. And also this poem is also available on my Instagram. So if you guys want to like listen to it again, you guys just gotta, scroll on my Instagram and you'll find it in there somewhere. But I really like this poem. So here we go. So this poem is untitled. You lose when you choose to abuse who you once used for love. So hit the snooze on the booze down your tubes and attempt to throw it up. Rectify all things you can't sanctify, but strategize to mummify my woman ties and force my legs shut. Even when you eclipse your lips on my clit, you never gave a fuck. Second love to get back hate is just my luck. Negativity forced inside me makes me buck, and every time I see your face, I feel like yuck, but every time I feel your touch, I just get stuck because the vibes you radiate are just too much, and I feel so confused. You chose money over me, but I still loved you. You chose face over me, now it's fuck you too. My heart was once red till you beat it black and blue, and the last time I see you is the start of us being through. Boop.
Word. Oh, word. After a poem, you're just gonna go crazy on them.
I had to bring some.
I'm done. I'm over this show.
Elouise Show. I couldn't bring some.
Well, no, that's very, very powerful. That's very, very powerful. I love it. I see how it correlates to everything we've been talking about. We got 4 minutes left, sis, and I just really feel like there's just this one question that I have to ask. What is your favorite part about being a woman of color? And we didn't get into exactly your cultural background, and that's okay. People can follow you on Instagram, follow your OnlyFans, they can like whatever, follow you on Twitter, and ask you more about yourself. Yes. But what is your favorite part about being a woman of color today in America?
I just love everything. I love how it gives me perspective, like the way I look at things. Like I feel like a lot of people live under a rock and they're very sheltered and they haven't experienced a lot of things, but because like I am a woman of color, I have experienced a lot of things in terms of like racism, in terms of being Dominican, or I've experienced backlash for being a Latina that is bisexual. So I love everything about it, besides the physical, besides, getting hair said, like my curly hair and my hips and everything. I just love how it opens my eyes and makes me see kind of like the truth of everything, because you don't really know what's going on until you live it. And being that woman, I've lived through a lot of things, and it gives me, it helps me have a platform to help others who've kind of been in my shoes and experience some of the things that I've experienced.
So. Yeah, I think that the dope thing about you, from my perspective, is like you're creative, you're intelligent, you're well-spoken, you're like in complete control of yourself and your sexuality. You don't give a fuck about what anyone has to say. Right. I think that that's powerful. I love your platform. I love that you don't subscribe to any norm. Any norm. The norm of an artist, you defy that. The norm of a Latina, you defy that. The norm of a sexual being, you defy that. The norm of an intellect, you defy that. So I think what's dope about you is that you are unapologetically yourself in all its complexity. And I feel truly honored to have had this conversation about feminism and sexuality with you specifically. So I thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you.
I thank you for having me, and just for like all the women or even the men that are watching, don't let anyone tell you who you are and who you have to be. You can be sexual and ratchet and freaky and fun and still be a scholar and still be a graduate. Like I graduated almost top of my class, honor roll, dean's list, like 3 or 4 times in my semester. And I got an OnlyFans, and you know, I still like to get things popping. So you don't have to fit in one box. Just be you. And you can never lose when you are authentically you. People will respect it and they'll gravitate towards you. So stay true to yourself. Self-love.
Self-love first, baby. And that is, yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. This has been the Elouise Show. I hope you tune in next week, where we will be discussing women empowerment.
Can't wait to watch. Thank you for having me. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.